Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty. You suck.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Iain Bruce and Adam Scott. Hello.
You can contact us on email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. I've been playing The Division. I've not played an awful lot of it, but I've done about 6 hours, I think. That's all. So,
is that going to be enough for you, or are you going to carry on?
I'm going to carry on. I think. Although I think the bottom line for it really is that, like, the worst part of the game is that none of my friends are playing it. So
that will shortly be rectified, as I've got 2 game keys coming via a contact at work. So Radders and I will pop in for about 20 minutes, get bored, and go and do something else.
Yeah, well, I did wonder if you two had gone for it, because
we did
it's the kind of game that I think you. Yeah, I think it's the kind of game that you would dig. I mean, in the same way, like, that we all, like, paired off and played Dead Space 3, which offered some short-term thrills, I think. But this is a much bigger game,
Yeah, go on.
But when I say it's big, it's open world. But I'll tell you, like, how I kind of end up playing it. Like, I popped on for an hour last night, and I was the right level to do the next sort of proper big mission. So I just went onto the map, found it, and then from the map I was able to matchmake and just immediately zoom to that mission. So there was no traipsing around to get to the place. So I just hooked up with some randoms, and we played through it. And I think it wasn't a full group, and that's kind of why I'm sort of waiting till I get to the level before I do those missions, because I'm not sure. They do balance it kind of on the fly, but I've run into trouble a couple of times where I haven't joined the best of most cooperative group in the world, and it's all gone a bit tits up.
Welcome to MMO land.
Well, this is it, and they won't say that it is, but it is. But you see, after I've played with the group, you know, I just say thanks guys, either on the comms or just chat, and just say thanks guys, and then I go off on my own, and I'll end up getting whooshed back to my home base, or the big home base that you upgrade to get all your various abilities, and then I'll just, like, if I'm not quite the right level to do the next big mission, I'll kind of just slowly make my way there, doing things on the way.
Like what?
And once there are, like, what they call encounters, and also side missions that have levels, appropriate to the zone you're in. And some of them are quite good, actually, because you'll end up mantling around a building, and I think one involved me having to do a little bit of, not parkour, but sort of work my way around this sort of rooftop area quickly enough before this timer expired, so that I could deactivate these radar or something. And another one just involved me defending a drop as various waves of enemies came at me from different directions. I'm level 9 now, so I've got, like, a few different abilities. Most of the missions early on involve upgrading the medical wing of your base, and as you upgrade the various wings, you get different abilities and different talents and different perks. Talents you can only activate one, although as you level up it unlocks more slots. And the abilities you have, which you trigger off manually, they can be augmented in different ways as well.
Are your talents like passives then? Are they like passives, or are they like one time
the
only?
The perks are, and you accumulate those,
right,
like you do in Fallout. So you'll be able to equip more medical med kits or more grenades, depending on what you're upgrading. But yeah, like I say, I've mostly been doing the medical wing stuff, which is handy at keeping yourself alive early on. It makes sense. But so it looks like a kind of non-linear structure, but because of the way that they're level capped, the different missions, it's kind of linear, really. But the side missions and stuff you can do in whatever order you like. But as for the actual gameplay itself, it's very much, your
crouch and shoot,
Gears of War, Mass Effect, all that kind of thing. It is, and I quite like that. I do enjoy it. I like the ability to, in a third-person shooter, you have a kind of much more accurate grasp of where you are in relation to things sometimes, and I kind of really enjoy it. And even with the random groups, you find yourself like, I've got like a little turret I can deploy now, which is handy when you've got a big boss mob coming at you. And there are the whole they are bullet sponges, especially in the groups, but I think it lends a level of tactical play. Like, there are these guys who have like big flamethrowers, and you can shoot the little barrels on their backs and they'll explode and still stay alive miraculously. But it adds a bit of explosive drama to the proceedings, and I'm kind of enjoying it. But like I will say, last night I only played for an hour because, God damn you, Netflix. But I was kind of done after an hour. It was fine, it was enough. I could have played longer, but an hour felt completely satisfying.
I think that... Go on, mate, after you.
No, I was just saying, I think I've never touched it, so I speak completely through other people's accounts of the game. But I think a lot of people have said, yeah, it looks great, and the talent level up system is quite nice. There's lots of abilities and stuff, as there often are in MMOs. But they're just saying that the combat is just a bit dull. Because the thing is, I know that there's a comparison with Mass Effect, for example, in the fact that you find cover and you shoot. But the thing with Mass Effect, and I don't know whether it's the same in Gears of War, is that the targets are bullet sponges because they have these different layers of defences. So they'll have either shields or armour or barriers or a combination of those. And you can fill out your team so that you have specialists that are able to strip those abilities quickly. And so the skill comes in getting the right mix of squad members together to get the right skills on board, so that you don't feel like bullet sponges. You get people doing the right things at the right time in combinations to take down the enemies quickly. So if it's just a question of, I'm going to empty 15 magazines into that guy with a different colour beanie than that guy, because he's a boss of some description, that's not selling it to me as being particularly exciting. I get the tactical thing. I think that there is a lot of pleasure in, approaching situations, flanking, and using the environment if possible. But at the end of the day, how are you finding your ammo replenishment and all that stuff? I mean, how plentiful is ammo? What's the situation there?
Well, there are like little supply crates where you can resupply, kind of scattered about each level.
Or they're like infinite resupply, are they? Or
well, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but
if you can find them,
you get through like an encounter, and then you'll kind of go into a hallway, and there'll be one there before you get into the next big thing. But each mission, you can boost the difficulty up if you want to get better loot and stuff like that. I mean, it's very much a loot game as well. There's loads of different weapons. I had a sniper rifle at one point. You have 3 slots. You have like your primary, secondary, and then a sidearm.
Yep.
And also scattered around the levels, which I don't often see because I'm kind of trying to keep up with the lunatics who are probably playing it for the 3rd or 4th time. And there's lots of there's like what they call echoes around, which kind of bring up these sort of 3D like sort of cutscenes that you're like walking in and around.
They are glorious. They are.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Wow, they're excellent.
Yeah, and there's lots of, and like you do get as like loot drops and mission rewards. Really, you'll get like various intel, they call it, which is which is plot, which is narrative, and so when you're going around, it's not just like you're getting the thing that's got the extra 0 on the end of the damage. It's you're quite often being rewarded with lots of exposition and plot development, and there is quite a lot of that, and the way that it's doled out makes total sense for the kind of game that it is. You do get the occasional cutscene with some blatantly PC kind of characterization that I guess it must have these days, but it's all right. I mean, I wouldn't say it's certainly not on a BioWare level, the story, but it makes sense. I think that they want it to be a bit open, a bit kind of drop in and out. There's a disaster going on, and it just gives you a little more flavour and a little more sort of motivation. And I think that honestly is what's making me come back to it, because if it was just the mechanics of what I'm explaining, then I'd have as much reason to play that as I do an arena-based thing that I don't really tend to gravitate towards. And
true. Yeah, if it was just a multiplayer shooter, I'd rather play PlanetSide, to be honest. Because at least you can headshot people if need be, and you can one shot kill people if required, if you've got the right equipment and everything else. But if it's got a somewhat compelling plot to move along, that's certainly a sweetener. Certainly.
It's just world building, and it just kind of adds to the immersion, and of course the level of detail going on in the environment. They've basically taken a slice of Midtown Manhattan, and you look at the map and you're like, well, there's a DLC pack there to the south probably, and
Yeah, exactly. I've seen some of the comparison photographs with the real places that they're modelled on, and they're bloody close in lots of examples. But,
it's one thing you can't knock Ubisoft for, is their world building.
So
it's a beautiful looking game.
How is Ubisoft screwing the gamer by forcing microtransactions into this game then?
I think they exist. They're cosmetic add-ons, I think, at this stage. There's a season pass, I think, that's going to add more content. Yeah, probably. But I mean, the game's huge as it is. I'm not really feeling any motivation. I'm not exactly running out of content, and the rate I'm playing it at, which is kind of like, I don't know, a couple of hours a week so far. It's really, there's enough game there for sure. I think. Don't know what. Oh yeah, the Dark Zone. I haven't gone there yet. I did go there a bit in the beta. Did you try any of that, Iain?
No, we didn't get that far.
No.
But that's the PvP stuff, right?
Well, it is if you want it to be. I read a thing on Eurogamer the other day saying the problem with the Dark Zone at the moment is everyone's being too nice and not actually playing it in the spirit it was intended, which is.
How's that work? Then?
Well, because the idea is that
PvP and MMO and people aren't trying to gank people. What the fuck is that about?
Yeah.
Well, because the idea is that you acquire this loot, but the Dark Zone is everything you pick up in there is contaminated, so you have to extract it first.
Is what contaminated?
Contaminated.
It's fucked. It's fucked.
Is that like a robotic disease?
Yeah,
like foliage. It's contaminated with foliage.
Oh, nice one.
Thanks, mate. You set them up. I'll hit them out the park.
Yeah.
Sorry. Everything is contaminated.
So you have to like band together to sort of defend this loot while you wait for it to be extracted. But at any point during that process. Once the beacon's cooled down, everyone in the Dark Zone knows that it's there, so they can descend upon you en masse and steal your shit before you have a chance to extract it.
So how long have you got?
That's the idea.
Plonk the beacon down to defend yourself against everyone that's a higher level than you.
I haven't done it myself, so I'm not sure, but I think it's like I don't know, a couple of minutes maybe? I don't know.
So you don't know
Let us know, listeners.
You don't know then how... if you're going to the PvP as a level 3, say, and there are people in there that are considerably higher level than you, is there any kind of... I don't know what you call it, level balancing or anything to make it even remotely competitive, or is it just I've got the gun that I've been grinding 15 days for, so you're going to die in 30 seconds? I mean,
they recommend don't bother unless you're level 20.
right,
That's basically it. It's the end game. It's the end game of the game.
Right. Okay.
Right.
At the moment, that's kind of the end game.
Righto.
And I think by level 20, you've unlocked most of the abilities. So, yeah, you may have an edge with a better gun, I suppose. But I think it kind of peters out eventually.
I think if everyone's in there is at level cap, then it's not going to be that much different. I would have thought. Certainly not this early in the game. Maybe after it's been out a year and everyone's got epic loot or whatever it is that people get after they've been diligently grinding away for 6 months. Then I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard about some guy spending like 130 hours in there already.
Jesus.
And had totally maxed it all out, but
and then complaining that there's not enough content.
Yeah. I think doing the single player stuff, like the main missions alone, apparently you can get through it in about 25 hours if you just want to do that. But there's lots more to do as well. So,
Okay.
but yeah. Oh well, if you guys are going to get it, then let me know when you're on, Ian, because I'd definitely like to play it with you guys.
I would. It might. For a variety of reasons, it may be a number of months away at the moment, but I will give you a shout when we're. When that happens. It's not going to be.
I might get it if it's in a Steam sale or something. I'm not going to rush out and get it now.
I saw it's 30 quid on CD keys at the moment.
Yeah,
It needs to be at least half that.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm going to play it is because there's keys coming through work, and to be honest, based on the beta, I'd rather play PlanetSide. Nobody else is playing PlanetSide. I mean, lots of people are still playing it, but none of you guys are playing it, and that's okay. But PlanetSide provides dynamic stuff. It's not, there's a load of them. I'll just take cover, pop up and shoot them, and rinse and repeat. There's a lot of zerging in PlanetSide, and it is basically the same shit over and over again, but there's room for those glorious comedy moments that perhaps a group of role players may have had in their younger days, where just suddenly a load of weird shit happened, and you just think, what the fuck was that about? But I didn't see that in the Division. It was very, go here, do this will happen, you'll get this.
Follow the waypoint.
And then you'll be sent somewhere else. And which is what WoW did 12 years ago. And, other games have done. You go to this zone and you get a load of shit and you walk around and you do stuff and you pick stuff up. And eventually you can go and do a dungeon or an instance. And it's all just... it's like it's very efficient. But for me, the beta lacked a bit of soul. And apart from the world, which looked it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
It was like they'd had a meeting and said, right, to make an MMO, we need to do these things, and they put all of those things in there, and they do that. Okay, cool.
Yeah. On paper, it reads like, that's everything that we want, but it kind of ends up feeling just ultimately a bit hollow, and like most Ubisoft games, incredibly consumable. And that's it.
But it feels like they had a meeting and said, Christ, we have to do something like Destiny. Let's do something. Let's stick our fingers in that pie a bit.
Well, it's paid off. It's their most successful new IP ever, apparently.
Yeah, which is, that's good. It's good. I'm sure we'll have the Division 2 next year and Division 3 after that, and then Division 4 Paris or something.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's okay. Yeah. As much as I think all of us kind of hate them to a degree, they do make reasonable games. I've been playing quite a load of Syndicate recently. The London
Assassin's Creed.
And it's
cool.
It is right, here's a new zone, you go here, it starts, and then you can go and do some other stuff. And when you finish that zone, there's another zone next to it. And it's a bit, oh Christ.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed the Far Cry stuff, and the things that the games themselves are consumable is actually a very good word for them. I actually, I played that, and I played a bit of the Assassin's Creed Pirate one, whatever that was.
Black
Flag.
That's right.
Awesome game.
Yeah, I enjoyed it while I was playing it, and there were lots of. They're very good at making things that are little interludes in the main thing that are just you can go off and do something and then come back to what you're doing, and it doesn't feel like forced in side quest. Although, the map is the iconography in the map is just like hurts my eyes. Look at all the things that I could go and do.
Yeah,
and
it's just I should not know this much.
It feels the thing is that to me is just like that just reinforces the fact as a player that I am playing a game with all these things to do, and I never ever get that sense. I had a bit with Far Cry 3 to be fair, but that's when I wasn't looking at the map so much and I was just getting more along the main storyline rather than filling in my OCD, clearing the map. Yeah, because I do get a bit OCD about it. Like I've got to clear this bit of the map and everything else. Yeah, I mean, but you know, the thing about Ubisoft are, with everything in the last few years, they've released stuff at E3 where the finished product was severely lacking in terms of what was put out.
Yeah.
A more cynical person would say they're deliberately lying to their consumers. I wouldn't say that. But you know, it is true, and because I was watching the Angry Joe review of The Division, because I knew we were going to be talking about it, and I watched. You know, I think he can be a bit of a tosser sometimes, but you know, he did put out he did do the comparison with the E3 trailer, and unsurprisingly, the stuff, the gameplay that on the E3 trailer, which was clearly, you know, very orchestrated and marketing led and everything else, was a lot more. I would have been a lot more interested in the game if it was like that rather than what it was actually released.
I was going to mention this later, but did you guys hear about the whole Far Cry Primal thing?
What, with the same map?
It's basically the Far Cry 4 map.
Oh no!
To be honest, I don't really have a problem with that.
No, not really.
There's a lot of people on. One of the suggestions on Reddit was that it was initially going to be like Blood Dragon Far Cry, Blood Cry Dragon Far.
Well, that's what they've done, because that was a portion of the Far Cry 3 map that they repurposed apparently.
But because they weren't doing a Far Cry this year, a suit in an office somewhere with a Ferrari said, "No, just charge full price for it."
Yeah,
it's not something I'm going to go near, because I think I'm done with that particular aspect of those games. But the videos of people I've seen playing it, which have been a few, it looks all right. It doesn't look horrible.
No.
Why does it matter that it's using the same map? If there's a Far Cry in London, do we need to go? Oh, that's the same city as Syndicate. What are you? I understand it's a little bit cynical and perhaps lazy of the developer, but why not? You know, why not?
Well, I mean, they reuse loads of stuff across all their different games, Ubisoft do. Like, now that they've built New York in The Division, they won't build it again, you know? Yeah. But I think the thing with Far Cry to me was, I was just like, I'm already done with Far Cry, like, enough. Like, Far Cry 3 was great. Far Cry 4, I was just like, yeah, I've got no real interest in this. And to know that I'd be getting an even more kind of, replicated, repurposed experience was just enough for me to be like, nah, I'm out.
Yeah.
But I'm sure other people may enjoy it, you know, and it looks like they made some effort to sort of change up the gameplay a bit. There's lots of beast taming and stuff.
I thought it looked pretty interesting, actually. I didn't, you know, it's... I think they have at least. I think they have pared back all that stuff we were just talking about, haven't they? All the little icons on the map to go and chase.
Yeah, there's still loads of that. Apparently.
Oh, is there? All right, well, fuck that.
Yeah,
but I mean, I think the fact is, coming back to the map thing, I think I'd be very surprised if anyone that hadn't had that pointed out to them would have noticed. If I'm honest.
Yeah, I know.
It's one of the things that when you know about it, you think, oh, that's a bit cheeky. But if it didn't actually impair your gaming experience, then maybe it's being angry for the sake of it, you know.
But we've been playing the same Assassin's Creed game for about 5 years now. That's a little bit cheeky as well.
I'm afraid if you don't want developers to be lazy, stop throwing money at them for doing lazy things.
Yes.
Yeah. It still doesn't stop me buying them, though, for the right... For the right price, though, I will still go back. I mean, I picked up Assassin's Creed Rogue for $10 in the Steam sale, the last one.
God.
Because I do like those games, but I just feel like I just can't be asked to pay full whack.
I don't think that's unreasonable. If you like the franchise, no one's saying you shouldn't like games that you actually like, just because I think that's a bit bullshit when people say, I won't buy it because it's EA. Oh, well, fucking hell, would you like a stepladder to get off that high horse with, please? I mean, the fact is, EA as a company can be fairly odious, but you know what? Most large companies can be fairly odious in one degree or another. Let's not forget that Valve, the saviours of PC gaming, as everyone likes to put them, were quite happy to try and get money out of people for Fallout mods not so long ago, and people suddenly went, "Oh, hang on a minute, maybe they're trying to make money out of us as well."
Was that Skyrim mods?
Sorry, Skyrim. Yeah, I know it's one of the Bethesda ones. But I mean, I think the point is, you have to judge each product on what it is. I mean, EA's business model is very DLC heavy. It's everything else, but actually, I don't think they're as bad as they used to be. I think they actually now give developers the time, and they realise, because they were a page where they were just trying to churn out games and screw everybody. And I think they still do, and certainly in some franchises like Battlefront and stuff, I think certainly the Hardline thing was a bit of a disaster. But certainly the BioWare stuff, Dragon Age 2 was pushed out. Pretty good game. Would have been a much better game if they'd had been given more time. Mass Effect 3 a lot of that was cut, and I won't get into that. But since then, a lot of those gaming studios have been given the time to breathe and put out high quality product, in my opinion. So I think.
Well, they've consolidated. Sorry, carry on.
No, I'd kind of finished.
All right.
If you let me ramble, I will ramble. And I'll get.
I was just sort of saying while you were.
I'll get the popcorn. Ramble.
No, I was just saying they don't put out as many games now. Like hardly, them and Activision, they seem to have really consolidated it down to like just a handful of big franchises, and it's probably for the best.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the point is every company's got their own business model, and if you enjoy the games that they make, then fine, then buy them when they are at an appropriate price point for you. So
you don't have to buy them for 60 quid on day one.
No, because I object to doing that. I probably wouldn't object to doing it quite so often if I had a bit more time to play. But I think, I mean, the thing is, games have actually suffered from a very, very slow inflation rate compared with other forms of entertainment, to be fair. But and they are obviously very expensive to make now, so I'm not really surprised if I think about it from a actual business point of view that the DLC and microtransaction model is quite popular, because games object to paying a large amounts of money up front for a game, but they also object to paying for the microtransaction and DLC stuff, when actually, if you actually looked at the cost of production versus the cost of sale, all of that in that top level price is probably fairly consistent with what people were paying 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's why you end up with stuff like Hitman that's now like an episodic series that's £10 for a 2-hour slice instead of £60 or £40 for a 10-hour
the first one. There's a lot of people walking around in that building. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm really tempted to go for it, actually, just because like it's a 2 or 3 hour game and it's 10 quid.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how I like to consume stuff now.
Yeah, I want to spend less. And I haven't really bought anything. I nearly bought the culling this week because somebody at work was raving about it, but I just...
What's that?
The culling.
What's that?
It's like a battle royale game. It's like the battle royale stuff from H1Z1, where you get dumped on a map and you've got to get stuff and kill each other, and this gas cloud comes from the outside pushing you all together, so you end up with this tiny little space with you and all the other survivors trying to kill each other. And the culling is so that was kind of not forced into H1Z1, but that's recently split from the survival part of that into its own thing, a little bit cheaply. So now they can charge for 2 games.
That's interesting. Actually,
Sony,
like Hunger Games too.
Yeah. I mean it's what it is, absolutely. But the culling uses UE4, so it looks like Ark. It looks breathtakingly beautiful. But it's specifically built for that purpose. The rounds are 20 minutes. The gameplay looks reasonable. I think I'm a bit done with that kind of twitchy shooter. I'll still play Rising Storm and PlanetSide infrequently, and I do like shooting people in the face in GTA, but I think I'm just a bit done with... I've got to get the most points and open a box and hope there's a gun in there to shoot people. Really, I'd rather just heal 200 people trying to storm a base in PlanetSide, rather than oh my god, I've wasted 20 minutes and all I had was a rock. Fuck. We all have days approaching payday. I don't need to play a game that's like that. So, yeah.
Cool. So, did anyone have any other games they wanted to talk about?
As probably has been mentioned, I've got the Vive VR headset at work. And a few weeks ago, I saw a trailer for a game called the Brookhaven Experiment. I don't wish to do it any disservice, but in summary, it's basically Time Crisis in VR.
Right.
I think I might have heard a bit about this.
And I've seen a lot of VR over the last 18 months, and I'm not cynical about it or jaded about it, but I've seen a lot, and it was, this is one like this. Primarily because I've seen so bloody much of it. I enjoy it, and I'm very lucky to be working with it, blah, blah. But we finally got this. There's a demo available on Steam. It's only I think it's 15 quid or 20 quid, the full game. But there's a demo, and we have played the living shit out of this at work. It is absolutely hilarious. The demo, at least, is you're standing in a small park area of a partially apocalyptic city. It's nighttime. You've got a torch in one controller and a pistol in the other, so you can do the thing like this with the torch, which is it's satisfying. That was an indication of the gun under the hand with the torch.
Yes,
stuff.
cross your wrist. Listener.
And you stand in one spot. You can walk around a bit because it's the Vive. But these zombies appear out of the darkness. These kind of zombie monsters appear out of the darkness, plodding towards you, and you have to shoot them. I probably haven't sold it there, but everybody at work that tried it has been they've come away and they've been shaking with adrenaline. It's been absolutely beautiful. The gun works really well. If you let them get close enough, you can do amazing John Woo side things and shoot them in the head and stuff.
Can I just ask, what's the controller for the gun? Is it is there a what do you call it? Bespoke controller for this game, or is they're just the Vive controllers. Just the Vive
sticks with the little thing on the end.
Thing. Okay.
But because those controllers by default have a trigger button on them, you can certainly do all of the crossed wrist torch and thing, and do the side thing. And one of the times I played, I was a little bit, because once you realise it, is it just like time? No, you have to manage your ammunition. Your battery drains in your torch, so you end up standing in darkness, just waiting for something, firing your gun to see if you can see something. And it's, if without fail, everybody has said, "Well, that's excellent." And we're not a games company at work. We're not going to produce games, but it was really one of the first games I'd seen on the Vive where I thought, I could probably spend a lot of time in this, just going, I've killed more zombies, yay! And there was, for me, it was, the glorious bit was, I only had about 5 shots left in my gun. There were zombies all around me, so if I was turning around trying to see if I could run away, which couldn't physically happen anyway. And in classic old school roleplay remembrance, this is such an inside joke. Nobody else is going to get this reference at all. Sorry, listener. I took the gun, put it to my head, and shot myself in the head while these zombies came in and got me. And I thought, that was just, it was, I'm fairly sure you can't shoot yourself in the head, and I just died because they all got me, but I felt like I was in control of it at that point.
You were immersed at that level.
Yeah, I felt enough to think, no, you're not going to have me, so I'll do it myself, which was great.
They should add like a blood kind of effect, like rolling down your view, or something.
Yeah. The screen just goes to red. I think it's not finished yet, but it was. I'm probably going to try and get hold of the developers and see if they can do something for this, because it was great. It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Knaart was talking about something where they were in a room that they were defending, and there were things coming into a room, and like he had a sword on his back, and he could just reach round behind his back and just pull it out.
Is that the Vive or PSVR?
That's Vive.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't know what the game was though, but I wondered if this was it, but I think this is something similar. Lots and lots of games where the contrivance is that you're in a kind of fairly limited area,
yes,
with things coming at you, or you're on a platform that's moving, and that you can duck around and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is. I suppose it's depending the game around the technology you're using, doesn't it? It's the alteration of the platform. It's a good idea.
And it's not. It is kind of an old idea, but Jesus, I'm not going to get a Vive because we'll have them at work and they're £750. But it really made me want to get a Vive, and that's a good thing.
This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Iain talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can email us at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com, or you can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes for this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya. Bye.